fire, 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 fire.
Okay, let's watch. Steam is on a warpath. They're winning. Gabe Newell does nothing and just stays winning.
There has very much been a cultural revolution within the video game industry between the players and the publishers and the media, and a lot of it has been platformed off of Steam. Not actively, so to say, more passively than anything else, because it's one of the only places, it's one of the only platforms where the customer still has a voice, and that voice can be heard. We just don't see that in a lot of other places. And I don't think a lot of people have picked up on this, but not only has Steam been getting more popular, they've been on a warpath. They've been setting up rules and regulations for all of these other publishers to follow, and if they don't fall in line, well, then they're not going to be on Steam, and these guys want to be on Steam. And I realize that a lot of people are going to push back and say that's a lot of power for one company to have, and you're absolutely right in that. But from my perspective, they've also become our de facto legislators in an industry that is wildly underregulated.
What's wild to me is that I hope that Steam doesn't like become corrupt and become an absolute monopoly, and rather that other companies will try and do something like Steam. Like, I don't know, man. I'm worried about, like, the whole monopolization of video games on, like, one company, even if... I like Steam, by the way, just for the record. I like Steam. I've been using it since, like, 2012. My brother used it before that, but it's just, like, scary to think about. Like, what if Gabe, like, stops doing what he does, or he passes away, and then some guy fucking takes over? It's like, are we gonna keep having this?
They are putting consumer protections in place in an industry where those consumer protections don't exist. And why are they doing it? Well, it's because they value their audience. We've had plenty of conversations about an industry at war with its own audience. Well, this is the last bastion of that industry where they still care about us.
I knew that Steam was based when I realized that you could play a game for 2 hours and still get a refund, no questions asked. That's the day I knew. And I also played Bless Online when it released on Steam, and I couldn't get into the game for 6 hours, and Steam completely refunded my game. I bought, like, some sort of, like, supporter pack, because, like, you needed it to play. And I remember Asman and McConnell playing the game and not being able to get in, and then when they did get in, it was super laggy and dog shit. I was experiencing pretty much the same thing. I couldn't play the game, so I asked Steam for a refund after like 6 hours, and they said absolutely. Because they know better than to fucking piss off the customer and be like, oops, too bad. It's like they have some accountability.
So from hitting 40 million concurrent players on Steam and exposing Activision Blizzard to beating Amazon and not even knowing it, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the continued success of Steam and how they're drawing battle lines nobody wants to cross.
Epic Games you can't gift to friends. See, that's some dog shit. Like, what's the excuse there? Like, you really can't gift games to friends in a game store? Like, why?
If Steam was ever going to have a competitor, it would have been Amazon, because they have the money, the infrastructure, the Twitch integrations they could do to be able to create something massive, but instead they threw billions at a problem and made nothing. A former Amazon executive admitted as much in a recent article from Windows Central written by Michael Hoagland titled "Amazon Admits Defeat to Steam." His former VP declares, "We were 250 times bigger, but Goliath lost. Just because you're big enough to build something doesn't mean people will use it." Michael writes, in a LinkedIn post, Ethan Evans recalls his loss to Steam when he led the division. "We were at least 250 times bigger, and we tried everything, but..."
Yeah, you tried everything except listening to the customer. That's wild to me that people still dance and skirt around that. No, it's because, like, Steam is just, they have this, like, monopoly on things. It's like, okay, but you could just listen to the customer. You can't gift friends. You can't gift friends on Epic Game Store. Isn't that wild?
Ultimately, Goliath lost. That's an interesting choice of words when you compare market share. While it's true Amazon by itself is a company that vastly outsizes Steam, no other company has ever held a portion of the PC market like Steam has. To me, they've always been Goliath. It's just been other Goliaths coming to battle them with similar tools and identical features, but a simple change of attire. Ethan admits to misunderstanding what it took to take on the giant. At Amazon, we assumed that size and visibility would be enough to attract customers, but we underestimated the power of existing user habits. We never validated our core assumptions before investing heavily in solutions. The truth is, gamers already had a solution to their problems, and they weren't going to switch to another platform just because a new one was available. When a person is happy, they don't go look elsewhere because something else is available. When a player has a large library of games, achievements, friends, and hours spent on a product platform, what's the reason for them to shift? Beep boop.
Produce a better product than what the other person is offering. Steam's not flawless. It still has fucking problems, obviously. But you can make a competitor. You released Epic Store, the Epic Store, and it was worse than Steam. The baseline should be that you are at the base of Steam. You don't have to release it to be better, obviously. Like, if you really are having, like, skill issue problems, like, I think that's, like, that's a you problem. But, like, you should just still have it as a 9 out of 10, just like Steam. And work together, or not work together, but like works against one another.
Beep boop does not compute. We fail to understand user habits. These suits are complete bots, failing to understand anything about the industry, the games, or the players. Just one time I would hear these guys say something that genuinely reflects the perspective of the players. Just one time I want them to put themselves in the players' shoes. They were so close saying gamers already have a solution. The issue is these suits don't understand the problem being solved is them. Amazon thought that they could brute force their way into the PC gaming space, but they never understood why people use Steam in the first place. Steam's not just a storefront.
Steam was started because Gabe Newell got sick of having to collect CD-ROMs and having to install them. I know this is like it's not a real story, but like it's kind of like if you really think about it, that's probably why they made Steam a thing. Collecting CD-ROMs and having to like store them and like they eventually break and stuff. I think that's probably part of the reason why that became popular. I hated installing discs. Please insert disc 1 of 2. Please put it in. Oh no, it's scratched. It's fucking corrupted. It's over. I don't know what to do. That's why my brother started pirating too. That's part of the reason.
It's a platform that's built on trust. Valve isn't some faceless mega corporation chasing quarterly earnings reports. It's a company ran by people who actually understand games. When they make changes, it's almost always in the favor of the developer or the player.
Yeah,
they give developers real tools.
wow.
They don't try to nickel and dime their players. They treat the ecosystem like a living thing, not a cash register. Meanwhile, Amazon thought that they could just throw some money at Twitch streamers, slap together.
They make okay. One thing before we start glazing the absolute ever-loving fuck out of Steam, they do have an insane gambling problem with CSGO. They make hand over fist with the transactions with Dota 2 and CSGO through to their loot box system. However, they offset that by having a lot of goodwill with other things that they do. So that's why people don't fucking go after them, to be completely honest with you, man. CSGO, yeah, CSGO, Dota 2, TF2 hats, like there's a massive market. Every time there's a transaction that goes on Steam through like selling or like purchasing treasures or whatever the box is, they get a massive cut when you do a sale on an item. So say like $3,000 of that, $3,000 sale of a knife to another person, they get a cut out of that, even though they did absolutely nothing.
Launcher and all of a sudden compete with Steam, but they were wrong. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to use Amazon's half-assed gaming service. Even with all of their unlimited money, they still couldn't buy relevance. And that's why Steam is untouchable. It's not about the games, it's about how the platform treats you. And unlike every other company within this industry, Valve doesn't treat its customers like walking ATMs. Amazon failed, Epic failed, Ubisoft failed. Every single competitor who has tried to take on Steam has failed, and it's because Valve actually respects their customers. Imagine that, a company that doesn't hate us. You know, I'll be honest with you.
If you get hacked on Steam, I've heard people saying like those fucking hackers, the people that try to steal your accounts, they nuke them from orbit. They will get your account back no matter what. They will try their best. I remember someone said that one of my friends got hacked on Steam. They got their account back within a day. Literally within a day. Yeah, they've got it within 2 hours at 2 a.m. Yes, because they care about their customers. Like, how fucking pissed off are you if you lose your entire account and it's thousands of games or hundreds of games, and those games have like cosmetics and stuff linked to it? It sucks. I absolutely think that is one of the first and foremost things that these stores have to do in order to retain goodwill and loyalty with those customers. It's just how it is. Blizzard used to be like that too, but then they just kind of like stopped caring because they made a lot of money. And that's what I'm scared of happening with Steam.
You guys, if it wasn't for me actually reading these headlines, I wouldn't even have known that Amazon even had a storefront. That's how little people were talking about it. That's how little people were interested in anything other than Steam. And Steam's success isn't going to be stopping anytime soon because it's part of a much bigger shift in this industry. PC gaming is growing faster than ever, and the data proves it. As reported by IGN in an article titled "Steam Tops 40 Million Concurrent Players for the First Time as We All Jump In to Play Monster Hunter Wilds," Vicky Blake reports Steam, the most popular digital game distributor for PC players, has once again broke its own concurrent user record, breaching 40 million concurrent players for the first time.
Himself, man.
Over the weekend, which just so happened to coincide with Monster Hunter Wilds launch on Friday, February 28th, Steam logged 40,270,997 simultaneous players, breaking its previous record of 39.9 million players set in February 2025. In fact, according to SteamDB, Steam's concurrent record, seen by some as a way of measuring the success of Valve's digital platform, has been broken almost every single month since May 2024 with a concurrent peak.
Wukong blasted it, and people coped and said it was just because of Chinese players that were really, really into the Wukong sales pitch because it was really popular in China. People coped the fuck out of that. How do you cope with Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter, as much as I like the game, it had optimization issues. People couldn't fucking play the game. It was laggy. It was poorly optimized, and people still played the shit out of it. It still does. Well, you get my point, though. People still liked the game.
Rising from 35.5 million players to 40.2 million in just 6 months. So now let's put all this into perspective. Steam isn't just growing, it's growing faster than ever. While gaming platforms are struggling with engagement loss, live service failures, and subscription fatigue, well, Steam is doing the exact opposite. Every single month, their records keep breaking. Every year, their foothold in the industry gets stronger. And that's because PC gaming isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Consoles used to be the convenient option. Plug it in, press start, and play. But that illusion has started to crack. Next-gen console hardware launched with big promises, but what did the players actually get? 30 FPS modes, aggressive upscaling.
People are also really, really sick of the constant downtime. For example, PlayStation users. I've heard of people complaining about PlayStation servers going down constantly. Like, it's either like credit card theft or like their accounts got hacked and it's like there's a fucking security breach and servers being down and I can't play with my friends. Like, it's ridiculous. I think they genuinely fuck them like that.
Missing features, and all the while, these platforms have done little to improve the customer experience. I mean, we have people that are buying the hardware outright, subscribing to play online using the internet they already own, and they're being filtered into a limited ecosystem of games where their reviews mean nothing. They're being bombarded with ads on their dashboard, and they're locked out of basic features.
That's also true. Xbox does love to clap you with ads. Very true.
What exactly are these people playing for? Of course they're going to start going to PC. And then we have streaming culture, because more players aren't just playing games anymore. They're creating content. They're streaming on Twitch, editing clips for YouTube, and engaging with gaming in ways that, well, consoles just simply weren't built for. The Steam Deck has made a huge difference as well. This is one of the smartest things that Valve has ever done, because it's not just a handheld PC, it's a bridge. It pulled in console players who had never touched Steam before, and once they saw what was possible, no paid subscriptions for online, full access to an entire library of games, the ability to tweak and mod things whenever you want to.
And you don't have to buy the game again for the fucking console. That is mind-blowing to me. Like, think about it. Like, what? I can play games? Shared library on my console Steam Deck?
Why would you go back? More games, fewer restrictions. Steam doesn't have the same walled garden nonsense that PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox do. Early access thrives here. Indie games have a real shot at success. Modding is alive and well, and Valve isn't strong-arming developers into exclusivity deals and trying to push a storefront that nobody wants. But arguably the biggest catalyst for Steam's recent success is actually the launch of Steam China back in 2021. While initially the adoption rate was pretty slow, we've seen with the launch of Black Myth Wukong and more recently Monster Hunter Wilds,
and people were being so fucking racist and saying that like they were Chinese bots and hackers. Isn't that sad? Like how deep the propaganda pill goes? Like I always say this, I just want to play games with other people. I wouldn't necessarily start bringing up fucking politics to China. Like, if I have a Chinese Dota player, I'm not just gonna instantly be like, Taiwan #1! Taiwan #1! Like, if they're gonna be shit talk me and say, like, American dog, I piss in your cereal, okay, we start bantering, right? But, I'm joking, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, I just want to play the game with them. I just want to play the game and have fun. I'm sure they do too. It's not about like fucking this cringe ass culture war of like America versus China or whatever, or China versus everyone else. If they make good games, I want to be able to enjoy it with them, if anything. I would hope that they would want the same of the Western culture. If they are praising the game and I am praising the game, I want them to make good games so that we can all enjoy the game.
How much of an impact that can have. I myself am welcoming my Chinese brethren into the fold because these guys do not put up with poor optimization.
True.
Did you guys know that most of the negative reviews on Monster Hunter Wilds were written in simplified Chinese? Steam now has access to one of the biggest consumer markets in the entire world with a population of 1.4 billion people. That's going to have an effect. The numbers don't lie. PC gaming isn't just growing, it's pulling in players away from consoles, and Steam is leading the charge. Not because they're trying to force anybody's hand, but because at the end of the day, they don't need to. When given a choice, players choose Steam, and that says everything. And Steam's only going to get bigger, especially because of Steam China, because we've already seen that month after month, we're going to see more and more of these Chinese games released. And we saw the effect of Black Myth Wukong and how many players that brought into the ecosystem. And
the downside is Chinese love review bombing over the smallest things. They do. They really do. They love to like let you know that they fucking hate something. That is also very true. There's an upside to the support of a massive Chinese player base, but then there's also the downside. You take the L with the W.
With some of these Chinese games that are going to be coming out, they're going to get national support, and that's going to act like a bullhorn that's going to bring in more Western players that are going to be attracted to that game and how popular it is. That's how this thing continues to work. And other than GOG, see, I mentioned GOG. Praise me in the comments. I don't see any reason for me to use any other platform that's out there because none of them are as consumer-friendly and as convenient as Steam is. Sure, I realize that that's monopolistic, but I really like it when a monopoly works for me. And that's exactly what Steam does. Steam
I mean, you know, it's funny. I recently had an issue with Amazon and I literally had to make a new account because it got bricked because I kept going into like this proverbial circle of trying to call customer support, getting my account back, and they would just send me through the loop of like endlessly not being able to figure out why my account is locked. So I made a new one, and guess what? 3 months later, that account got magically unlocked and I could use it again. But like, what the fuck is the point? I already have a new account. But my point is, Amazon customer service is unironically insanely dogshit, and they're the monopoly, and that's what I'm worried about in the future if this happens with Steam. Like, this could all fucking fall apart, and they could become so massive and so gigantic that they become Amazon and they just don't give a shit anymore. It's really sad.
Works for me. At a glance, I can see everything that I want to about a game. I can see how many people are playing it. I can see what people are saying about it. I can see screenshots or the trailers or people streaming it. They have streams right on Steam. I can see what content's included in the version I want to buy. Maybe
mods. You can also look at the mods.
It's included in a bundle, or maybe it's on sale. It'll put up in big, bold, yellow text whether or not it has any type of third-party software like DRM or whatever else it might be. Oh my god,
yes. I hate that.
If I don't like it, within 2 hours, I can return it, no questions asked. And you just do not have those things on any other platform. Not a single one of them. It makes no sense to me how any of these companies would try to compete with Steam if they will not compete on their terms. If you are not trying to iterate on the things that make Steam successful, the reason why people go to Steam in the first place, then why are you even trying? All you're doing is wasting time and money, because every single month that you're not doing what they do, well, players are buying more games on Steam. They're becoming more invested on that platform, and it's getting even more popular.
And you know what's funny is that Amazon loves to throw money at they love to throw money at Epic Games Store and then making exclusives on it, thinking like, yes, this will be what brings in the customers. That's not what brings in the customers, man. They just don't buy their shit. Look at Sony, look at PlayStation. Look how exclusives worked against them. It's not about console wars anymore. It's about customers wanting what they want. They just want to play the fucking game. I don't think Amazon owns Epic. Does Amazon own Epic Games? Oh, no, it's not Amazon. Then who owns Epic Games? Who owns Epic Games? Their own thing? Tom Sweeney. Okay, I might have misconstrued what he was saying then, because I was under the impression that it was owned by it. Okay, never mind. Disregard what I said then. Never mind.
And you won't stand a chance. But I think
Tencent owns half of Epic. Sheesh, Jesus, dude.
That's the critical issue. It's not that they don't understand why Steam works or why Steam is popular. It's that they hate that it does.
Oh, Amazon has their own store. Okay, well, that's even funnier because I've never in my life used, like, Amazon store to make games or buy games. That's even funnier because I didn't even know about it.
Because they hate how user-friendly it is.
Terrible.
They hate how much control and how much transparency it has. They had how much control the players have, how much choice the players have. And they really don't like the fact that they have to operate on Steam's terms instead of their own. Steam isn't just a storefront, it's an industry watchdog, and that becomes more obvious every year. Activision Blizzard recently tried to sneak in AI-generated art into Call of Duty without telling anyone, letting players assume that they were paying for real handcrafted content until Steam's latest policy forced them to come clean. As of 2025, Steam requires full transparency. If a game contains AI-generated content, it has to be disclosed up front.
Good.
AI itself isn't necessarily...
You're allowed to consume AI content. You should just know about it beforehand. Some people are very adamant. They don't want to support even like a tiny little ounce of AI, and that's okay.
The issue, I don't think that players are necessarily against it, but I think that players are against paying more for less. AI should, in theory, lower costs and improve efficiency, yet somehow publishers are using it to cut corners while still charging premium prices. That's what players hate. Not that AI exists, but that it's being used to shortcut and pump out lazy, overpriced content. And if Steam hadn't stepped in, publishers would have kept pretending like it wasn't happening at all. And this isn't the first time that Valve has forced publishers to play fair. In 2024, EA openly discussed adding in-game advertisements, one of the most profitable ways to be able to nickel and dime your customers at the expense of their experience. But Steam shut it down immediately. They banned forced advertisements in games just like that, while other companies...
The Ark trailer is also AI schlop. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm definitely not buying Ark. I have a friend that has like 12,000 hours on the old Ark. That's cringe. Which Ark game? Ark 2? Yeah, that one. That one has all the AI, doesn't it? There's not even gameplay? That's disgusting. Like, really? Go on the cliffs is bitch to fight. Not only the cliffs, there was a part where this is... Ah, man, I want to bitch about Monster Hunter on so many levels. Like, I love the game, but there's certain things that just irk me to no end. Some of the hitboxes, there's a pillar in this area where Gormagala lashes out with his black fire, and it goes through the pillar. Like, they didn't test that shit, so... Anyway, it's just fucking annoying. It's my little bitch about that.
Macy Gaming is another passive entertainment platform to monetize like streaming services. Valve made it clear players should not have to sit through a commercial break to play a game that they paid for. No wonder Sony's been so hesitant to move to Steam. I'm sure they'd love to cash in on that ad patent they've been sitting on.
What?
It's been so hesitant to move to Steam. I'm sure they'd love to cash
Gore is hard on Wilds. I don't know. I didn't have trouble with him, but I played Dual Blaze, so I'm pretty fast. Turns out Sony owns the creepiest TV patent ever. Stop the world. I want to get off. When you purchase through links on our site, blah 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 blah. McDonald's. What is this? What is this again? What? Turns out Sony owns the creepiest TV patent ever. Blah, 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 blah. Let me look at this. Oh, wait. What? Patent filings often... I gotta show you this. Chat, this is actually so funny. What? Patent filings often offer tantalizing blah blah blah. 2009 patent, which has recently resurfaced on social media, describes a form of advertising that we hope never becomes the norm. In it, TV viewers are only able to skip an advert by shouting the name of the brand. Yep, crying McDonald's is the only way to make the Big Mac disappear. Oh my god. That's so fucking fucked. You literally become like a Pavlovian dog. A Pavlovian dog. You know the experiment where like the dog hears the bell and then like you get a treat? It's the same thing. It's like McDonald's. Woo! You will watch the ad. What was the ad about? McDonald's. There you go. Now you get to watch, consume your content. Raid Shadow Legends! Trojan condoms! Eczema skincare! Acne body wash! Like, what the fuck is wrong? Dude, I feel like I'm in a fucking, like, I'm in a chamber, like a vacuum fucking chamber. What is going on? Keeps Ozempic, Viagra, NordVPN, Smogalana! You have to guys get this commercial. Smogalana, yeah! That's horrifying. I thought this was a joke.
Cash in on that ad patent they've been sitting on.
Oh,
but if that wasn't
God.
enough, and this is something we've talked about in a previous video, Valve also cracked down on one of the biggest publisher scams, selling season passes and DLC with no intention on delivering the content on time. For years, developers have been getting away with promising post-launch expansions, collecting money up front, and
or people sitting in indie games early access for like 5 years and nothing has happened and it's still in early access. I remember.
Or delaying their content indefinitely or just canceling it altogether. But Steam changed the rules. Now, if a developer misses their content or their DLC deadline and they don't notify Steam of the delay, Steam will automatically refund players. No waiting, no arguing, just instant refunds. Name another platform that does that. You can't. But what really pisses off these publishers about Steam isn't their policies, it's their transparency. Valve actually gives the players the information they need before making a purchase. And that's a serious threat to an industry that's built on hype, artificial scarcity, and manufactured popularity. Taking current player data, for example, Steam lets players see exactly how many people are playing a game in real time.
Good.
A feature that Ubisoft reportedly wanted to see them remove, but it's obvious why they...
Some of these jokes write themselves, man. I don't know.
They would want to have it gone. Publishers do not want you to see the actual numbers. They want you listening to journalists.
I bet you Blizzard also got really annoyed. Yeah.
To tell you that the game is popular. But on Steam, you don't have to take anyone's word for it. You can go see the numbers yourself. You can go see if a live service game is thriving or barely hanging on. You can decide if it's worth investing your money into or if it's already a ghost town that won't last another 6 months. And that's a problem because this directly conflicts with their...
I think that's very predatory when you buy also MMOs. I know MMOs are kind of a dying genre and nobody really cares about them. And they have their bursts of popularity, but I think that it's a predatory way of not letting people know how good the population is. I like MMOs. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I love MMOs. I've played pretty much every MMO under the sun. Like almost every single one. But it sucks when you buy an MMO and then you like go into the world and you're like, oh, damn, this is kind of a ghost town, huh? And that ruins the like experience for you.
Financial goals. These companies have no problem making players spend money before they eventually pull the plug, and they have no issue gaslighting players into believing a game is alive and well when it's not. You know what else directly impacts their sales, or at least should? Reviews. And nothing forces publishers to be more honest than Steam's review system. This isn't just a feature, it's one of the most powerful forces in gaming. A single bad decision can sink your game overnight. When Sony tried to force in PlayStation logins into Helldivers 2, Steam players review bombed the game so hard that Sony backtracked in record time. This wouldn't have happened on any other.
It's funny. I watched like a video talking about it, and I reviewed it and said it was dog shit. And within 2 hours of me posting that video, it was reverted, and everybody was like, "Alana, why did you make this post? They reverted it, you dumb bitch!" And I'm like, "Oh my fucking god! I fucking talked about it. Like, how is it my fault? I didn't know this was gonna happen."
Their platform, but on Steam, negative reviews can actually affect sales, which means developers can't ignore them. And it's not just PC players that are checking out these Steam reviews. Console players are relying on them too, because let's be honest, gaming journalism is dead. IGN, Kotaku, GameSpot, these outlets have turned into nothing more than corporate mouthpieces, handing out 9 out of 10 scores to garbage, half-baked games, dismissing real player concerns and treating criticism like it's toxic. Nobody trusts them anymore. Players aren't going to waste their time and money based on some paid-for Metacritic score. Instead, they're going to go check out Steam because that's the place where real, unfiltered player opinions actually matter. Steam lets players organize and warn each other. Unlike other platforms that try to suppress discussions that might hurt their sales, Steam allows open, unmoderated discussions. Take Sweet Baby Detected as an example, a group that tracks a specific game.
Oh no. Oh no, not Sweet Baby Ink Detected.
Consultancy agency that was involved with writing different games. Whether you agree with them or not, players deserve the right to know who is shaping their games. And if
no, they're not. They should be taken down, and their Steam accounts should get revoked, and they should get banned off of Steam for letting people know. Again, I'm all for doing it without, like, harassing them. You are allowed to make connections and dots between games. You absolutely should. You are allowed to say, like, this developer worked on this game, or like this consultancy agency worked on this game, and you are allowed to make a list. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He's not saying don't fucking buy the games. That's not even what the group is about.
They want to buy something that they are involved in. The gaming press wanted Steam to shut it down. Developers tried to call for its removal, but Valve, they didn't cave. They didn't censor it. They left it up. Here's the truth. Steam doesn't just compete with these other storefronts. It is
People do the same thing. By the way, the hypocrisy would be unbelievable. There are people that make lists saying this game was made in China and was made by the CCP. How is that not hypocritical? You are allowed to do that. It's just simple as that. Let people know the information and let them deduce what they want to see. Let them read the paper.
Regulating the entire industry. Anytime Steam makes a change or bans something entirely, these publishers and developers have to fall in line. Otherwise, they're not going to have their games on the biggest platform in the world. And with how hard it's been for some of these companies to actually profit off of some of their games, they cannot afford to not be on Steam. That's why Steam is such a threat to modern gaming. It exists in direct opposition to everything that these big publishers have been wanting. It's too user-friendly. It gives players too much control. It's too transparent, and it forces them to play fair. And that's why these companies keep trying so hard to replace it. Epic burned billions trying to make a competitor. Amazon failed before they even got started. Ubisoft, EA, and a bunch of other publishers have abandoned their own PC launchers because nobody wanted them. Every attempt to take Steam down has failed.
And that's when the Steam page started. All I was doing is reposting information that went as SBI's homepage. Yeah, and then they hid it because they got annoyed with people pointing it out. Yeah. And it's kind of funny to think about. It's like, why did they hide it, I wonder?
Failed.
Why did they do that?
Well, that's because when given a choice, players are always going to choose freedom over control. And that's why they're choosing Steam. Valve isn't just another faceless corporation. It still operates like a game developer. It's not run by marketing executives or analysts that don't play games. It's run by people who actually understand video games. They make video games. That's why Steam has a clear identity and one that prioritizes the players over the publishers. And that's why every single competitor is going to fail. Amazon, Epic, Xbox, EA, Ubisoft, every single one of these PC platforms was built by people who only put profits first and players second. They don't understand their audience because they aren't their audience. But Steam is different. It was...
a lot of glazing for Steam. The predatory gambit system It's not great. On the other hand, lots of goodwill. I don't know. I just think that, like, we're allowed to criticize Steam. I like Steam. We like Steam. But sometimes you gotta glaze. I absolutely agree. But obviously, cases in CSGO are predatory. They really are. And there's and nobody's really talked about it because of how much goodwill Steam has. Yeah. Sis 1 and 2 are awful. Yeah, I think it's predatory. I think that that's one big issue with Steam that people don't even like to talk about. They make a hand over fist over it, but obviously they do a lot of good as well. Let's be honest, yes, Steam is fucking awesome, but they are a company in business to make money where they will champion the player until it starts hitting their bottom line. It's just about integrity for now, because they're a private company, they're not public, so they don't have that kind of incentive to start squeezing money for investors yet. I hope it doesn't come to that. We'll see, but you know, it is what it is.
It's built for the players, and because of that, Valve is the only company that is actually regulating the industry. I, for one, am completely happy that we have Steam on our side, and they are the ones that are laying out the rules right now. Because if they weren't doing it, then nobody would. Because, well, you know, in a lot of cases, there's nobody that's actually trying to fight on our side.
It would have been absolutely awful if Steam wasn't a thing, because if you really think about it, CDs slowly started getting phased out probably by around about 2015. That's when I started noticing that I wasn't buying like hard copies of games, and I started buying a lot on Steam and digitally, and also pirating, but that's besides the point. It would have become a massive issue if we had just like publishers. It would have become what TV is now today with like Netflix, Hulu. I don't use streaming services. I don't know. Like, imagine I'm listing off all of these like companies that have all these rights to publish these things. That's what would have happened if Steam wasn't a thing, because it's like, how do you contain all of this if Ubisoft and PlayStation and Xbox and all those publishers that do exclusives, like, how would you be able to control that? Like, what are we gonna do, man?
Legislatively, it's governments and whatnot. Half these people are too old to really understand video games. It's
easier to purchase a game on Steam than to pirate the game. Yes, and I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. If you're poor and you can't afford it, I totally get it. Like, I understand the incentive to pirate something that costs $100, which GTA 5 or fucking GTA 6 is gonna be, or people are speculating. I understand you cannot afford it. I totally get it. I was a student in college. I couldn't afford that shit. That's why I started pirating. Like, you get my point. You wait for Steam sales. Steam sales happen literally 4 times a year. They have the quarterly sales or whatever.
Begin with, and they don't really care about it. And even if they did, well, they just probably have some people that would lobby against it, and then they'd make it worse. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't a single company within this industry that could compete with Steam. And I say that with the utmost confidence, because you have a company that, one, isn't publicly traded, so they're not being influenced by investors or trying to make money for other people. They're just trying to make money for themselves. And on top of that, these guys make more money per employee than Apple and Google.
True.
They're making more than enough money that they don't even care. And the only way for them to make more...
I think their employees get paid like more than $80,000 a year, which is absurd for a game development like company. If I'm remembering correctly, like, don't quote me on that. It was some really like decent number. 80K is not much for Seattle. Well, it's better than 40K living in California working for Blizzard. I think the average K is 120. Well, whatever it is, it was high when I looked at it. I was like, damn, that's pretty fucking decent.
Money, at least from their perspective, is just to invite more players in and then protect that audience, protect those customers, because that's the way that they stay. If you use them and abuse them, well, they're going to go leave. They're going to go somewhere else or something like that. That's not what you want. No. That's the reason why when we look at Steam for the most part has been on autopilot. They don't need to change anything. They don't need...
I wish someone decided to actually try and face Steam. Epic barely tried, and it gave Steam a little push to do some QL stuff. And that's what, like, my biggest gripe is. It's like, Steam is great and everything, but there has to be competitors. That's how games and industries evolve. You need to have someone to keep you in check. I think that's the same in every like industry, to be completely honest. Like even with entertainment, like you hit a certain ceiling where if you don't have a competitor, you're just gonna stagnate.
To do anything
And complacency too. You're right.
Other than video games, more games for me to play and buy. That's the reason why these guys are going back to making video games right now. That's the reason why they're going and making a Steam Deck, because they're making ways to invite more players into the ecosystem rather than milk the players that are already there. That's how their vision is completely opposite for the rest of the entire industry, because these guys are so focused on trying to squeeze every drop out of whoever they have, they end up scaring everybody else away, including the people they're squeezing. That doesn't work out in the long
Epic's
run.
gross, man.
Now, while Valve has definitely betrayed us in the past, I'm not going to pretend like they're a perfect company. They are the ones that popularized loot boxes in a lot of ways.
Thank you. At least with all the glazing he didn't mention that.
From my perspective, they're one of the very few that are still on our side and are still working for our best interests. They're still working for us. And that's the most important thing. Well, I think
Epic's losing a shit ton of money on their store page. I bought, it was Chivalry that came out in like, what, 2019? I can't remember. This is kind of a blur for me, but I bought a game off of the Epic Game Store, and I remember being so pissed off at how unintuitive and the stupid the UI is. I was so mad. I was like, I just want to play with my friends. I was also mad that it was an Epic exclusive at the time. Like, my God, I was so pissed. Surely you can get a refund? No, I played enough with my friends at the time, but it was just annoying. Steam is the default for store. Nah, haha, very funny. Yes. No, the UI is dog shit. I also downloaded Fart. Fuck. I downloaded Fortnite. I downloaded Fortnite. My dog started barking because I said Fortnite. I downloaded Fortnite and I didn't understand why there was like 5 different Fortnites. Oh my God, I was so confused. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this not intuitive? It's so bad. How do you just not copy Steam's, like, I don't know, like, take their homework and just change it a little bit? Why is that a thing, man?
I think a lot of people believe that Steam's going to change one day, and fair enough. All companies change. Things change. It's how the world works more than anything else.
It sucks. I hate
this
change.
This company is so smart. They make so much money. They have 300 employees. They have such a focus.
300? Wait, that's actually kind of crazy. Like, how do they handle, like, customer support or, like, people getting hacked? Like, if you really think about it, how many active Steam accounts are there? 132 million monthly active users with 69 million daily users. Okay, 69 million, 5% of 69 million... 345,000. Well, let's say 5% of those get hacked every day, and they were like minor hacks. That's 345,000 fucking customers that come in every day. Like, I don't know. I just think that's crazy. With 300 employees, let's make it even lower. Let's make it 1% of 69. Yeah, so that's 690,000. Wait, 69,000. Wait, what am I talking about? Wait, this doesn't make any sense. What? Oh, yeah, wait, no, I'm cooked. The first one was 3.45. God, man, I'm fucking mathematically dyslexic. Sorry, I'm being a woman. 3.45 million is the number for the 5%. The 1% was 690,000, which is still a lot. Like, good lord, man. I can't count zeros, Chad, sorry.
Just philosophy on
Steam
video
support is
games
crazy.
and players and customers and their platform, I don't see that going anywhere. When you have a company that small with that strong a leadership, that doesn't just disappear overnight. That doesn't disappear when Gabe Newell leaves the company. Yes, I know.
would
we have
hope
a
not.
62-year-old man that basically has the health and fairness of the entire video game industry weighing on his shoulders.
I think it's a big factor for sure, but I would hope that he teaches that to his employees and his successor when he eventually retires or desires to just retire in the Cayman Islands somewhere.
He doesn't really take me as the kind of guy that would just walk off and leave somebody else to burn it down. You're likely going to pick somebody that's going to be a solid successor.
I fucking hope so,
yeah.
man. That would suck.
Man, these publishers have to hate Steam. They are stomping all over every single dirty little nasty trick they want to pull. And they're not going to get away with any of it. Unless they want to make
Steam.
money. If you want to make money, you better be on Steam.
Isn't he grooming his son to be his successor? I don't know about grooming, but yeah, maybe. Grooming's kind of a strong word.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. Share the video.
I mean, it's the
Subscribe
technical
to the
word,
channel.
yeah.
Follow me on Twitch. Like the video. Comment on the
No,
video.
I understand.
Follow
It is
me
the
on
word.
Twitter. That is all I have for you today. Stay cool,
I hate
stay
Twitter.
righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Family, 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 chat family, family, family. No, it is the correct word. It's just funny because, like, we talk about groomers, like child groomers, and then we're out here talking about, you know, grooming successors, which is correct. Chatter was correct. Wow, Chat, you're so smart. Why are you so smart, Chat? Oh my gosh. Oh my god, you're so smart. Family, family, family.
Oh, yeah.